Before I ever thought about microphones or books or podcasts, I learned something very early in life. Silence can feel like safety. In many places around the world, especially for women, silence is taught as protection. Don't speak too loudly. Don't ask too many questions. Or don't name what happened. Because speaking can cost you everything. And yet, silence also has a cost. I am Mariatu, and this is She Chose to Rise, a global storytelling and annual book project, a global Rise and Soar production in partnership with Engage Salon. In She Chose to Rise, we are telling stories of women who have made one quiet, dangerous, but courageous decision to speak when silence would have been safer. This series was born from a book, an anthology of women from around the world writing about moments that changed their lives. But before there was a book, there was a question I couldn't stop asking. What happens when women are finally heard, not as statistics, not as headlines, but as full human beings? In this first episode, I want to begin at the beginning with why this project exists at all and with my own very story. I grew up in Sierra Leone, West Africa, a country shaped by resilience, faith, and survival, but also by deep silence around pain, power, and gender. Like many girls, I learned very early that some truths were just too dangerous to say out loud. There was a moment in my life when speaking felt like betrayal. Betrayal of family expectations, betrayal of cultural norms, betrayal of a version of myself that was expected to endure quietly. I didn't have the language for what I was experiencing, but I knew something was wrong. I was young, I was ambitious, and I was being punished for both. When I tried to name what was happening, to ask questions, to try, to push back, I learned very quickly how unsafe honesty could be. In many societies, silence is not neutral, it is enforced. Silence protects systems, silence protects reputations, it protects power. But when women decide to speak anyway, the consequences are rarely small. I lost stability, I lost access, I lost safety. But I gained something else: clarity. There is a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when you realize you cannot survive by shrinking anymore. That moment doesn't feel heroic, it feels terrifying, very terrifying. For me, choosing to speak wasn't about being brave, it was about refusing to disappear. Years later, after working in media, education, and women's empowerment across countries and cultures, I realized something startling. My story wasn't unique. Everywhere I went, every woman I spoke with, whether from Bangladesh, Ukraine, Brazil, Djibouti, Romania, the United States, women were telling different stories. but describing the same moment. The moment they chose themselves, the moment they spoke, the moment silence stopped being an option. This podcast is not about trauma for shock value. It's not about victimhood. And it's definitely not about inspiration that ignores complexity. She chose to rise is about agency, about consequence, and what it actually costs and gives to live in truth. In the episodes ahead, you will hear from women who have survived war, broken cultural silence, challenged beauty standards, rebuilt after illness, and led within system never designed for them. Their stories are not tidy, but they are honest. If there's one thing I hope you take from this first episode, it's this. Speaking doesn't always change the world immediately. Sometimes it only changes you. But that change is where everything begins. Next time, you'll hear from Olga in Ukraine, a woman rising while our country is breaking, and what it means to choose hope in the middle of uncertainty. I am Mariatu, and this is She Chose to Rise, a global rise and soar production in partnership with Engage Salon. Until next time, rise.